Alan, tell me about F1.
Yes. Well, F1, as I get my notes up here. So F1 is the story of Sonny Hayes, played by Brad Pitt. He is a racer who it opens up where he's helping his team win the Daytona 24-hour race.
69.
He's a guy who used to be a great race car driver, and now he's just because of an accident, he's resigned himself to the background, and quietly he's just been going from race to race to race and just winning them. And so sets up, there's only one race he didn't win. It was the F1, the Formula One race, which caused his accident. And his buddy Javier Bardem, his former co-racer, comes back. He's the part of a.
Sir, he's Javier Bardem plays Ruben.
Okay,
like a manager.
Thanks. But they used to race together, Formula One. Ruben is part of a team, says we need a great racer because our rookie is not doing well. And he somehow convinces Sonny Hayes to join. And let's just say everyone has a lesson to learn when it comes. And hopefully if everyone in this movie can learn their lessons, they'll win the race in the end. Part of it also is a rookie racer, Joshua Pierce, who has some ego issues that have to be dealt with. And as I said, and there are other characters who need to be uplifted. And if everything works together, they'll come out on top at the end.
And I mean, I don't want to get into too much of the story. I'll just say that the story is probably the weakest part of the movie. It's a very thin on story and plot. It's a sports movie. In sports movies have like two results. You either win or lose. That's it. And I love sports films. We could sit here and rattle off a list of great sports movies from, everything from
Bad News Bears.
I was going to say Bad News Bears. But just sports movies are great. Days of Thunder, you go on and on. You can go by sports category, all the Rocky films, boxing. But I love sports movies, and, you win or you lose. And sometimes when you lose, you actually win something else. You win respect, or maybe you win the girl.
Rocky.
Yeah, exactly. But F1, okay, thin on story. So well written. The characters are so good in this. And even, put even that aside, for a second, the racing, you have to see this in IMAX, which I was fortunate to see it in IMAX. I will see it again in 4DX. I want to see this movie again in 4DX.
That's a good idea.
I want to feel the racing. So I just had a great time. And, just based on a couple other movies I saw that didn't really love, this is one of my favorite movies this year.
Okay,
now,
so let me ask you. So we were at CinemaCon, and when this movie came up, Jerry Bruckheimer and Joseph Kosinski come on stage, and the claim was that that F1 in their eyes, they wanted it to be this year's Top Gun Maverick. Do you think they did it?
I don't know. I have no idea. We sit here and try to guess how movies. Who could have predicted Minecraft would do so well? Which Minecraft, by the way, watched. Well, I didn't watch it. It was on in the background. Minecraft is on Max. Minecraft is on Max now. Just FYI. Who would have predicted that movie would do well? I have no idea. Even Top Gun Maverick, that movie doing well. Who thought that? Other movies that like Super Mario, right? Not pre-sales, walk-up business with families. I don't know if F1 will do great or not. I really don't. I have no prediction, no knowledge of, box office. I know we'll talk about it Monday on Versus.
Yeah. But in terms of the feeling, the feeling you got walking away from Top Gun Maverick, did you get those feelings walking away from F1?
No, not as much. I didn't like it as much as Top Gun Maverick, but I will say as a racing movie, it's more about the experience. They really do put you in the cockpit I mean, the way that they shot this, clearly using drones and cameras placed in cars, gave you the feeling of being in a race, which I would never do. It's I didn't look. I know that racing is very physically demanding. F1 in particular is physically demanding. So I really have a newfound appreciation for the sport and just love Brad Pitt. He's a star. I don't care what. And the guy that he is pitted up against, the actor, his name is
Joshua Pierce.
Yeah, Joshua Pierce. No,
Damson Idris.
Damson Idris. He's really good. He's really good. So, and of course, Javier Bardem is just solid in everything. So,
I mean, I'll say that the Damson, he understood his character arc.
Yes, yes, and they didn't. You know what I liked about it? Didn't make it about race. It was about rivals. Wasn't ever about race. A movie about racing, not about race.
Not race, yeah. Yeah,
but no, I'm glad. And so it's just a very solid movie, and I will see it again in a theater, 100%. So I strong recommend from me. One of my favorite movies I've seen this year.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of my favorites. I think when I walked away and thought about it, it incorporated elements of other movies I liked.
Yeah,
which means that this is not going to be as good as any of those movies. Even Gran Turismo, I think it's going to be a tough race between Gran Turismo and this. Yeah, those are two really strong movies. So the first movie this reminds me of is Hoosiers. It's the idea of a guy who has been who's made mistakes in his life and is finally coming back to the sport that kicked him out, and that he has to atone for his sins of the past. That to me, that was generally the idea of the story. But it was done better in Hoosiers. The other one is Ford versus Ferrari. This is all about car racing. Somehow I liked the car aspect of it better in Ford versus Ferrari. And this one,
I agree with you. Ford versus Ferrari is better as a story. As a story, F1 has less story, thin on story, but better on spectacle. That's what F1 does better.
Yeah, but I think so the story overall, I liked. I do like the arc that Sonny Hayes and Joshua Pierce take, and then even the Javier Bardem character is good. Here's something I noticed though. So you have your pit crew, you have the people working behind the scenes. There are 4 major characters behind the scenes when it comes to how you do a F1 race and how you keep everyone safe and all that. What did 3 of the 4 characters have in common?
What?
They were women. And,
yeah, there were. Yeah.
In fact, there were only 3 women on the crew, and it was those 3 women. It's interesting.
Focus on them, and one makes a mistake. One makes a mistake,
but quickly overcomes.
I like those minor characters. They had their own character arcs woven in. It worked for me. A strong recommend for F1. One of my favorites this year. What about you?
Yeah, definitely a strong. The only reason I bring the women thing up, it's not that women aren't in this field, but they are the only 3, and they are the only ones the story focuses on in terms of, hey, if from the pit crew, we go to this person. From the behind the scenes, there's one that works kind of man in the chair, but there's 12 men in the chair, and the one they go to is the female one. And then, of course, the car engineer and designer.
Right.
To me, I don't know if it's because they're trying to, they're trying to uplift women in the field, or if they're trying to create some kind of a contrast to say, you're going to remember these characters as opposed to seeing 20 men in a movie. Because the man they focus on is old. And so, again, that sets himself apart from the rest of the crew, which is basically young white men.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry to make it political, but that's the thing that I'm just pointing out a trend that is happening in movies, and we'll see.
Where I feel like you have to have balance. It's like someone said, can we make this character a woman? And you know, it doesn't, it actually, I think in some ways it enhances the movie because there is a heterosexual romance, which we don't see in a lot of movies these days, which I liked. So, but in the end, we're both recommending it. So now you have to see it.